Good afternoon, grade 11s. Today we are going to continue with our database project. Right, so as I've indicated on the previous video that we are just going to cover the first looks, meaning how to design a report using a wizard, and also how to work with the header and footer, the page footer, the report footer, and the functions. So in the previous video, we only covered how to create a report using a report wizard. So today we are going to do at least one function, or how to do the function on a report. But only demonstrating one function, just so that our video is not too long. Right, so I am going to highlight for you here what we are going to do today. So there you go. We will be focusing on basic calculations, but we're only going to do one function, which is the count function. There you go. We are going to do the function in red, the count function. Right, so I am going to minimize this and then return to the database file that we were using yesterday. I'm going to open the file. Let's return volunteer Usizo. Okay, here you go. And then remember, yesterday we created a report, return volunteer data. Okay, we have our file open. Here is that report. Let me just open so that you can see. So in the previous video, we also included some groupings. We grouped using the interest and the grade. So this is the report that we created yesterday. So I'm going to close it, and then I will be making use of the interest of volunteers report to demonstrate to you how we do calculations on a report. Right, so I am going to move from the report view, and then I will be doing the calculations from the design view. That's one thing you should know regarding calculations, or any time when you have to modify anything on your report, you have to switch the view from the report view to the design view. Right, so here is our design view, and this is how it looks like. Right, so number two, when you want to do calculations on your report, you need to remember that the calculations in a report are done in the report footer section. All right, so as you can see, our report consists of the report header, the page header, the interest header, the school header, the detail, the page footer, and the last section is the report footer, and this is where we are going to do the calculations. Okay, so as you can see in our report footer, it's blank. There is nothing underneath, meaning there's no space for us to start doing our calculations. So you will then need to maximize the space here underneath so that we can start with our functions. So what you're going to do is, first you need to locate the black line, right? And then you watch the position of the cursor. So as you can see, when you move the cursor to that black line, you can see then the position changes to a plus sign. So the minute it changes to a plus sign, positioned on the black line, you should click on the mouse, you hold the mouse, and then you drag it down like that. By so doing, you will then be creating the space on your report footer where you will then start with your calculations. Right. Note number 3, when we do calculations on a report, we make use of the controls, right? And the control that we are going to make use of is called the text box. All right, so you may remember these controls from the electronic form. on a Word document. So same thing with database. When we do the calculations, we make use of the text box control so that we can then enter the label of the function and also do the function on the unbound section. So what you have to do now, you need to go and select this control, the text box, the one with AB. So you will click on it. After clicking, when you then position the cursor on the report footer section, you'll actually get to see the text box moving around. So now what you have to do is you will click, you hold the mouse, and then you drag it so that you can then position your text box. So as you can see, your text box consists of the label, the one written text 14, and the unbound section, and this is where you'll be doing your function. Right, so now as you have seen from the ATP that I am using, I'm going back to the ATP. The functions that we will cover in this term, it's the sum, the average function, the count, the mean, and the max. And if you can remember from the Excel spreadsheet, we use the sum function to get the total. We use the count to count the number of cells. We use mean to check the lowest value. We use max to check for the highest value. So the very same function works on database, and they perform the same function. Right, so I will return to the database. And then we are now going to make use of the count function. We want to check how many records are there available in our report. So first we need to label our function. So I am then going to modify the text 14, and then I am going to type number of records as our label, number of records. There you go. And then after labeling our text box, number of records, we then need to start inserting the function. Remember, these functions work the same as the Excel spreadsheet. So when you start working with your function, you start by typing the equal sign. So I am going to type equal sign, and then I will type the function count. Right? So in an Excel document, you were then now supposed to enter the range where you'll be counting the number of cells, right? But then in this case, we don't enter the range. We make use of the asterisk. So this is a star where you click Shift 8 on the keyboard, and then you close the bracket. So this function only does one thing, which is to count the number of records in a report. And then now we are going to save the changes, and then we'll return back to the report view and check if the number of records are showing. Right, so I will click save and then go to report view, and then I am now going to scroll down so that we can check the number of records in our report. There you go. There is our label, number of records, and the function worked. We have 120 records in this report. Right, that is all for today.